What? I'm speechless. Let me just say hi first. Hey, Maisha.
Hi,
How are you?
I am excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited about, this episode. This is like whenever I think about this type of episodes, they come in like little sprays. They don't it's not back to back, but when they happen, people are like, "Okay, another one." So, this time around it's coming from you, and I know you're going to bring so much value because your experience and thoughts go wild, and some people need to catch up.
No, wait, am I calling you Flavor?
Okay, you can call me Flavor for today.
No, no, is it Favor?
It
Favor. Now,
is.
I realized I didn't ask you what to call you during this.
It's okay. It's okay. You see, that's the beauty of it. When people see Favor, they're like, "No, it's Flavor," and I'm like, "No, there's no L in there, but I'll take it." So they're like, they used to sing like, "Oh, what's your flavor, Craig David?" And I'm like, "Stop!" Like, no.
I'm here, I'm thinking Flavor Flav, but I just dated myself. But Favor, I
Yes,
remember that.
Favor. Yes. Thank you so much for joining the We Don't Play podcast show today.
So happy to be here.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
definitely. Of course, of course. I would love people to know more about you. Just give us a backstory. Tell them how you even got to this point you're in. What has been happening. There's some things you may have never told anyone. So this podcast is like exclusive only. So feel free to let us know what's up.
I have been telling a little bit more of my story lately, ironically. So my name is Maisha, and I am known as the Sensual Energy Alchemist, and I'm a teacher of feminine energetics and sacred sexuality for women who are ready to be sovereign and embody their sensual feminine energy. And I came into this work because I was someone who wasn't sovereign and who I embodied my sensual feminine energy, but it wasn't in a healthy way. And going through an experience of a marriage that was very unhealthy, after I got out of it and looking back at it, I could see my my piece of it, my responsibility in it, and what led me there. And so I decided and I went on my own healing journey to work through and unravel those pieces. And along the way, um it just it was like, this is something that needs to come to the world. And so here, that's the short version of it. So here I am.
Wow. Just hearing this, I'm already thinking off the top of my mind. I was thinking, okay, when people meet, they meet for a reason and there's something that they're meeting for. And sometimes when people meet, they grow together or they grow apart. Now, could you tell us a little bit about that when it comes to growing together and growing apart? And what are the things in between that can make those things happen?
Yeah, so I think that all relationships are a classroom of sorts. Some are meant to stay together. Some are really meant to be for a season. And I think when we get rid of the idea of happily ever after, then we're able to figure out which is which, and what is it that we're in. So most people will attract someone to them to show them where they need to heal, to help them heal. Most of us have not been through relationship training of any kind. We don't know what it is to be in a healthy relationship. So we attract what we're accustomed to, even if we don't realize it. We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. And your relationship will show you who you think you are based on how this person treats you. They're a mirror for you, a reflection of you, and vice versa. And there are people who can look at that mirror and say, "Oh, wow, you know, there's a connection between our souls. Let's work on cleaning this." And there are people who will see that mirror and it's, "Oh, this doesn't work at all. This is not meant to be. But thank you for showing me the spaces that I need to grow." And I think it's important for us to be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, that's a major thing because one thing that points out to me is love language. And we don't talk about it much when it comes to relationships and Someone can be spending Gucci bags and Louis Vuittons, but all they want is quality time. All they want is acts of service. So, how does someone get into that type of conversation and lets that person feel comfortable without being territorial?
Just ask. Yeah, people just need to start having conversations. And here's the thing about love languages, and I think love languages are a beautiful thing. I was having a conversation with a few friends of mine. We flow in the tantric and sacred sexuality circles, and we were wondering, are love languages genuine or are they a form of trauma? So, for instance, if I grow up in a home, and I'm just going to use opposite sex here because that's my lane. If I grew up in a home where my father is not there, or was there but left for any reason, it could have been death, could have been divorce, could have been whatever, and I get into a relationship with someone and I'm like, well, my love language is quality time. Is it quality time because it is, or is it quality time because that's what I was missing? Right, from my relationship with my father. And I think that that's important to know as well. Our love languages could be actually who we are, but our love languages can also show us where we felt like we were lacking something and where we're looking for our mate to make up for it, because it isn't their job to make up for what we didn't get. It's just our job to learn how to heal from that. And really the conversations need to happen in the very beginning when you talk about, tell me about your past relationships, not all of the details, right? We don't need all of that, but why do you think your last relationship ended? What did you learn from your last relationship? You could start with questions like that, right? Have you ever heard of love languages? What do you think yours is? Hey, would you like to take this quiz with me? But just that conversation needs to be held earlier on so that people get a feel for who it is that they are or dating or trying to match with.
Great point. Because what I have started thinking about is, once the love language is taken care of and we know, okay, it's acts of service, it's just making sure you're there, quality time, it could be gifts, and the list goes on. The next question that people get to is like they start from base one or first base. They ask all those good questions. What's your color? What's your relationship like? How do you deal with emotions? Are you an angry person? Are you a calm person? Do you throw things? You start to get those questions answered.
Yes.
And then the second layer now gets to the sex part of the questions, and the sexual questions are being asked. Do you like this? Do you don't like this? And sometimes it's either they don't know it or they've never tried it, most times. But the thing is, when they don't try it, they kind of stay back. So opening up that sexual world, to your partner is also very important, because I'm thinking about all the kinks that you could be having, but if the person didn't know that they had them in them, how will they know? Sometimes some people have to get intoxicated. Some people have to just feel out of this world or be in that happy dopamine effect. But how does someone get to that point of conversation where it doesn't feel awkward or even weird?
If it feels awkward or weird, a person's not ready.
Oh.
I mean, as adults, as grown adults, if conversations around relationships and sex feel awkward or weird, that person's just not ready to engage, and they need to spend a little bit more time getting comfortable with themselves and who they are and what they truly want and desire before they have that conversation. I'm trying to imagine a scenario, and I can't, for me at this stage, imagine. And I know that people do it, which is why I say people aren't ready. They think they're ready, but they're not. If you're with somebody for a year and there are still sexual things you don't know, not because they don't know, but because it's like, well, we never had that conversation. And my question is, why not? And it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. But now here you are, trying to figure something out, or, he doesn't, he doesn't go down me, or she doesn't go down on me. And it's like, well, did you have that conversation in the beginning? And why are you 3 4 months in? Were you hoping that somehow it pop up, or they change their mind, or you no, these are questions you need to ask, because there's some people who genuinely that's not something that they're going to do, and now you're disappointed, and feel like you've wasted your time, but you never asked the question. These are important things to ask, and if someone's not ready to ask the questions, they're not ready to engage seriously with someone.
I think that's a major point you mentioned there. They're not ready, but some people think they are because of peer pressure. Some people
Sure.
say they're ready because, oh, it's porn, or what, this is easy. Some people don't even touch those things or even near them because they're like, oh, it actually has an effect on my mind. What are your thoughts on that? Because some people use it in the act. Some people don't want to use it at all. Some people think it's a spiritual drainage. There's so much going on with that word. So how do you see that when it pertains to experience and also quality of performance too?
You're talking about how do I see porn?
Yeah.
So most porn is trash. There are some great adult entertainers out there. Jet Setting Jasmine and King Noir are two of them. They have their own company. I forget the name of it, but they have their own company. They create some pretty damn good movies and adult entertainment movies. There's instructional type porn, right? Which is, the word porn is so salacious. It's so nasty, but there are instructional videos that I think are really helpful. But most of what people are looking for when they go to XX, to TubeX or whatever, or Pornhub and all that, it's trash. It's fake. It's not, there's nothing about it that's real, or some of the videos aren't even necessarily consensual. You don't know if people are consenting or not in some of the amateur videos. These are folks who are just, somebody looking to just make a name for themselves by doing activities and uploading videos. Most of it is not something that anybody should really be watching. Porn itself is not a bad thing. Pornography in and of itself is not a bad thing. It can be used as a great tool to explore and to learn and to say, oh, maybe I like this or maybe I like that. But when you're just picking the random, do y'all curse on here?
Go ahead. Yes, we do.
Okay, when you just pick the random shit that just pops up, like if it's free, it's trash. If you, for quality stuff, you're gonna need to pay for it. But if you're getting that free shit, I'm personally not a fan of that for men or women. It gives men a false idea, especially young men who are watching porn and haven't even had sex yet. It gives them a false idea of what a woman's body looks like, what to expect during sex, what's supposed to happen. And it gives women a false idea of what their bodies are supposed to look like and what they're supposed to do and what's supposed to happen during sex. Because those sounds are the fakest thing ever. These women who are having sex we're not doing that.
We didn't come here for that.
Yeah, no. And then people think that they're doing something wrong and they get very insecure.
Right.
No, it takes away the imagination in many ways, where you can kind of figure out what you're doing. Porn tells you what's supposed to be happening, and it's fake.
What if you create your own movie?
Oh, that's great. I think that's amazing. I think couples who have agreed to record themselves, absolutely, that's wonderful. One should not just be doing that with randos. You never know where those videos are going to end up. So if you're just dating someone or y'all just fucking around, that's not really the person to be recording things with. You just don't know where it's going to go. And that's for men and women. Women think it's men. Women will upload shit too. So I'm not a fan of that. But if you are a couple that's in a relationship and you want to create your own movies, please do. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. Some people don't feel like they're comfortable with it. Even couples. I feel like some couples are like, I've never done this before, so why am I doing it now in my marriage? Why am I doing it now in my relationship? Because they already have this preconceived notions that one day it may leak. Just like how we saw some leaks. Leaks happen, but it's a two-way street. But some people are like, nah, I'd rather not even do it. Or we can do it, watch it, and delete it. however you want to do it, it's up to you. But some people just don't
Yep.
even near that button.
However you want to do it. You want to do it, watch it, and delete it. That sounds fine. You want to do it, upload it to your Dropbox. That's fine. You want to do it, and you decide as a couple you want to upload it to Pornhub. Yeah, hey, have that. But yeah, I do think it's great for couples to see themselves on video. I think or on pictures.
Exactly. I think so too. Now, coming into relationships, let's say one of the people in the relationships are busy and the guy is always trying to get a nut, for example, but he can't because she's too busy, or vice versa. And let's say the girl too doesn't like toys, so she can't really do much apart from using her, fingers. So, how do you help somebody in that kind of position to think about pleasing themselves and not worrying about the person that they're with because they're busy? Sometimes they're like, oh, I have to do this because you're not here. So if you're not here, I just have to release. But it's also kind of like, okay, people say, internet says that if you do that, you kind of lose the sensual touch from the relationship. So what are your thoughts on that?
No, masturbation is extremely healthy. You don't it does not take away from your relationship at all. For It does not take away from your relationship at all. If people have difficulty masturbating, that's often due to religious constraints, religious ideas, body shame, and those are deeper issues. And that means that's probably just affecting sex as a whole, not just masturbation. But masturbation is very healthy. Self-pleasure, it's very healthy.
I would say so too. Some people in the chat, they'll be like, is it not? Maybe. Okay, I'll try it. And then they try it and they're like, okay, this is fun. And then it becomes something that they do maybe every day. Some people like it in the morning, some like it at night, some like a quickie in between, some don't even like quickies at all. So it's like there's no silver lining, honestly, just from what I'm trying to say. Everybody has their own kinks and pleasures, but you also have to know how to tap that in. And sometimes people don't say much until a year in the relationship. 2 years, you'd be like, I didn't know you like going to the nude beach, or I didn't know you like going for swinging, or I didn't know you like, lights off or lights on. People don't know these things until they ask, but sometimes the questions are not even available to ask. That's something I've come to understand too. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that you've noticed in your past, in your history, with relationships or people you've talked to. Does that happen quite often or no?
Where people are what's the question?
They're not really exploring because they don't know what to explore.
I mean, yes, there are a lot of people out there like that, and that's where conversation comes in, and just and talking about it or researching it or saying, I heard about BDSM. Do you want to explore what it is? All of this begins with conversation. That's the communication is the biggest piece in a relationship. That's the reason why relationships fall apart, not because of money, not because of lack of sex. It's because of the lack of communication and actually talking to each other about the things that come up, issues, fantasies, what you like, what you don't like, how you're actually feeling, and being vulnerable. So if there's something someone is interested in, that's a good time to, yes, have some conversation and say, hey, I had this crazy thought. Do you want to hear about it? And maybe we can look into this together.
Exactly. If you could tell us a little bit about bedroom conversations and bedroom communication, what are the best ways to start that conversation? Because those kind of talks lead you somewhere, like massages and all that kind of stuff. It's already
After sex.
after. Okay, so
After sex.
some people don't know what to say. Some people go to sleep. I'm talking about some people that you
That's
hear,
fine.
but how do you have a conversation in your sleep?
Right, and that's fine. If people go to sleep after sex, that's perfectly fine. But if there's some type of opening you want to have, sometimes after sex is the best time. Both people are open. They're very relaxed. They're receptive. So that's a good time to say, hey, I had this thought about something. Do you think you might want to try it? That's a good time. Before sex is a good time to have a conversation about what you liked about your last session together, what you'd like to explore in this session. Because sex is supposed to be play, it's fun. So what do you think you'd like to do? Do you want more of whatever it is we did last time? Do you want less of whatever we did last time? Those are good conversations to have beforehand. And then after, same thing. What did you like about um, what we did this time? Is there anything you would like more of? Is there anything you'd like less of? That type of communication is important. It also lets the other person that you genuinely care not only about your own, but about their satisfaction and pleasure as well.
Yeah, I think so too. And that also boils into my next question, which is based on masculine versus feminine energy. Most people don't see those things, and it's something that I also recently got to know about. And hearing that when somebody likes a woman that's feminine and not too masculine, like you said, it can go back into the family history. Maybe she had all brothers and she doesn't know how to show love, maybe because she's tight or she's tough. I don't know. Not everyone is the same, but when you think about the masculine and feminine energy, how does someone draw the line and know what to pick on and what not to pick on?
That's that's probably not a question I can answer in terms of what they pick or what they don't pick. I think it's important to understand one's own masculine and feminine energy, not what the world says, because there's a lot of conversation, and this is different from femininity and masculinity. Those are like outward traits or actions or activities, but the actual energy of being feminine is very much an internal thing, and the same thing for being masculine. And whether people want to understand or acknowledge it or not, the universe works largely on polarity. There is this, it's like how a battery has a plus and a minus sign, and when you put it in, you need the opposite, the plus and the minus sign. You need the yin and the yang. Whoever has the masculine or the feminine, there are women who have lots of masculine energy and there are men who have lots of feminine energy, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't always show up masculine in men like that. It doesn't always show up feminine in women like that, though I do work with women who are seeking to live in their feminine energy. But it's once you understand what that is, and masculine energy is generally, and this is not necessarily being a man, it's the energy is generally a stabilizing force. It is static, it is still, whereas feminine energy is a lot more malleable. It waves, it moves differently. So it's just understanding the energetics of that, which I know is a new conversation for a lot of people. And then from understanding the energetics, then you can start to understand behavior. But first, it's important to understand the energy underneath.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because we always hear, oh, feminine energy, femininity. Everybody is talking about the female, power. There's women empowerment, and everyone's like, oh, the men are about to lose their position. And it's like, no, we really not. We're actually collaborating, if anything, because we're giving off each other's, vibes. We need you, you need us, and we need to also be together to make things work. You can't make a baby by yourself. There are things that need to happen to stay connected,
Yeah.
to build those things into fruition. So I love that you mentioned that as well. I wanted to ask this question too, because we're on the topic of all this, and I think this question can really create that mode for everybody. What are the best ways to spice up the bedroom? It doesn't have to be in the bedroom, but what are the best ways to spice up your sex life?
I'm always going to go back to communication. As boring as that sounds, you can't spice anything up if you don't have any conversations with each other. So that's number one. Number two, and I just did a reel about it actually. The places that you have sex in. If you're always in the bedroom, go to the kitchen, go to the living room. If you have a backyard and it's covered, don't do anything that can get you arrested. Go out to the backyard. If you're at a function and you can sneak off to the bathroom for a quickie, something that seems a little dangerous, do that. It adds a little bit more fun and spontaneity to your life. Try new things in the bedroom. Maybe you want to try a blindfold. Maybe you want to try some light bondage, right? Maybe you want to try some spanking. They have little games you can play, card games where, your partner picks something and you do that to your partner, or like the dirty dice where you roll the dice and whatever shows up is what you do to your partner. Play games with it. It's supposed to be fun. It's really supposed to be sex is supposed to be a fun way to connect with someone on a spiritual, energetic, and physical level and mental level. So just find ways to incorporate more fun and play into it. Even some people wrestle. They find that to be very arousing. They do a little wrestling beforehand, and get pinned down, and they have sex from there. So as far as the imagination can go, and within the bounds of legality, the sky's the limit.
I'm glad you said the legality part because
yes,
some people can go an extra mile and head up to some school next door.
Yeah, no, legal, please.
Definitely. This has been amazing, and I just love the conversation we've had. When I think about couples trying to spice up their sex life, they don't talk about it. And you rightfully said it, communication is key. And some people don't know how to communicate. But if I think about it this way, some people don't know how to communicate, not even sexually, just socially. They can't express themselves. Yeah. How do you help those kind of people that want to experience the same type of result?
Well, then you have to look at what is the fear around communicating. And often there's a fear of rejection, a fear of loss, a fear of not being loved, of not being seen, of not being heard. And once those particular issues are start to become unraveled, then a person finds that it becomes a little bit easier to say what's actually on their mind, instead of trying to say the right thing, or people pleasing, or having fear and holding back. So communication is really how we communicate really says a lot about how we see ourselves and how we see ourselves in our own power.
Thank you for clarifying that. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Wow. I think there's a lot to take in, to be honest. There's a lot. No pun intended.
Pun taken.
If there's anything that you would like to touch on, no pun again, how would you leave, the listeners listening to take action on what they've just heard? What are the things that they need to start doing today to help them get to that point that they're looking for tomorrow?
Yeah, so if you're already in a relationship and you've listened to this, really take time to sit with your partner and kind of start having these discussions if you never had them before. Hey, I love our sex life, and I think that if we work together, we can create something really spectacular. What do you say? I mean, I don't know who's going to say no to that, right? If you're solo, this is a really great time for you to learn your body and learn your own self and communicate with your own self and discover what it is that you really desire. What do you want a relationship? Are you monogamous? Are you non-monogamous? What do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? What are you looking for? What are you seeking in terms of the person who's going to complement you? So those are the places that I would, obviously, and come see, but those are the places in which I would suggest people start.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Maisha, for just joining this amazing podcast show and shedding your light and just giving people some perspective that they can think about. They've heard it over and over again, but when you hear it from many people, you're like, okay, I need to listen. I need to actually do it. So this is really, really helpful. And if there are any options or possibilities that they have available to connect with you, what do they have? If they want to learn from you, if they want to connect with you, what options do they have available?
Yeah, so you can book a call with me on my website. It's a 15-minute complimentary call, and we can go from there. It's very simple. Just sensualenergyalchemy.com, book a call with me, schedule a call with me.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Maisha. And if you guys are looking for this link, it's in the description, in the notes. So make sure you tap on it and make sure that you schedule so that you can get those 15 minutes that can save you 15 hours of stress. Thank you again, Maisha. Till we meet again.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thanks.